Welcome to our Zoom rewatch as we're here with the head coach, Ronny Fisher, and his assistant, Pierre Miller. I'm Evan Budrovich. We were all on this road trip to High Point, the closest trip in the Big South. And man, this game was about as close as you can get, coming down to a buzzer beater by Svenja Nuremberg. So, Ronnie, let's start from the top. Your team had won 9 straight games coming into this matchup, and High Point was the top scoring team in the league. What was your emphasis with your girls getting ready for this game?
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a big matchup. We've been fortunate to beat High Point pretty good early in the season. I think our first conference game, and they had a new coach, and they had really improved since we played them our first time. I think had won 3 in a row, and came off of beating Radford. I think they were 5-0 at home in the league, and they were playing really well. And obviously, it's always a big rival, so. We knew we had to try to stop them, which is going to be tough. They've got such an explosive team. I think they were the number 1 scoring team in the league, and we're the number 1 defensive team in the league, so something had to give.
That's what made this game fun. We're going to fast forward to the final 8 minutes because that's where the action gets started. And Pierre, you can speak to this. We were sitting at Ruby Tuesdays breaking down the film, and Exhibit 1 was slow down Cameron Brown, and boy, she was a tough girl to stop throughout this game.
Yeah, she's a really exciting player to watch and obviously play against. Really good offensively, and she can do a lot of different things. And just to see how she led her team was remarkable. And she was definitely the head of the snake, if you will, that we were trying to cut off. And she played really well.
Okay, so this is where the 14-0 run starts. We saw the Kiana Spate 3. What does it take defensively to continue to get stops like we're seeing here?
Well, I tell you what, I think we came off a third quarter where they put up 27 on us. So I remember in that huddle saying it going into the fourth quarter that we're not going to outscore them here, but we can do this. We have to stop them. And I thought our players, we really did a good job in that fourth quarter of keeping the ball in front of us. And Cameron, she was amazing. She was a player of the year in the league, and I think Schuyler was the second vote getter. So they had the 2 top players in the league according to the coaches, and we were finally able to stop them in that fourth quarter.
Well, here's Taya Bolden's specialty, taking a charge, because that could have been a huge bucket. I mean, what about Taya right there, Pierre?
Man, that was a huge momentum booster. I mean, anytime you can take a charge at that point of the game, as critical as it is, that was huge for our morale and how we could build off of it. So it was great.
Just looking back at it, it's funny how close Taya's heels were to touching that restricted circle. That was a big call.
Well, I think the girls started to move in the low box area, Evan, so it would have been a charge either way. So.
No, it's just interesting because, you watch it live in person and it looks so obvious, but it makes you appreciate how tough those calls really are. And then, we see Haley Barber here taking over, and it kind of felt to me like that was the point where the comeback sort of just seemed more realistic at that point.
Yeah, I think the thing, we kind of turned the tables on them in the fourth quarter, and they had really attacked us off the dribble, Cameron and Schuyler both, and Haley really got to the rim in that fourth quarter and had some big baskets, and we became much more the aggressor, and that was huge, and we had a really balanced attack. If I remember correctly, I think we had 5 players in double figures, and it was neat to see that offensive explosion too. I think we scored 21, 22 points in that fourth quarter.
So, Pierre, you're on the scouting report with your staff. What are you saying to your girls on the bench as this run continues and you're going on a 14-0 spurt?
Man, I'm really just cheering them on. I'm trying to keep the energy going, and obviously it was easy at this point because after Kiana hit those 2 threes and Haley made those nice drives, we really got some momentum building, and I was just trying to make sure that obviously we're staying level-headed, but that our energy was maintaining throughout the rest of the quarter.
So it's interesting because you talked about the 5 double-figure scores. That hadn't happened since the season opener, all the way back in the first game of the year. But Lou was a big part of that fourth quarter with 10 points. And I know we mentioned Svenja at the end of the game and Haley. How valuable was Lou in this effort, Coach?
She was amazing. And in the first meeting with them, she had held Cameron Brown to 2 points. And she played really well in the fourth quarter against Cameron. I think it frustrated her a little bit. And Obviously, Cameron fouling out helped us as well. But Lou's a competitor, and she didn't want to lose that game. And you could just tell by her demeanor on both ends of the floor, she was determined. And that was awesome.
Okay, so now it's a 6-point game. So getting close to one possession. Haley says, "Hey, I'm going to take over this one right here."
Yeah. And also in that game right now, it's pretty interesting to see Faith Price out there. And I think Faith here gets to the rim and hits 2 big free throws, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know if we'll see it or not, but she had an unbelievable rebound in this game. But for her to kind of go home as a freshman and make some huge plays, I think she probably played 8 or 10 minutes, but they were big minutes for us in a 5 minutes to go in a game, and had a lot of confidence in her, and she really came through and helped us as well.
Ronnie, what was that like, too? Because, Taya got injured in the third. She came back in the fourth, and you have a freshman in Faith Price, and both you guys can speak to this, but just the amount of minutes the whole bench had to play throughout the season, and especially that game.
Well, that was us all year. We were a good team, and like Ash is in there right now, Lauren Mack played in this game, and we really felt we were strong off the bench, and sometimes we got better when we came in off the bench. And I think that was the key to our whole season, our whole success. And our players had confidence in each other, and we had confidence in that depth.
Man, Haley Barber taking a charge. That is the thing of beauty right there, Pierre.
Oh, my goodness. You see it all year long, and for some reason, Haley was able to do that at the most critical times. She always made really big plays defensively. And I think our whole team fed off of that. Obviously, her taking charges, and then Kiana Spate guarding the ball. Our seniors this game played like seniors. And then, like Coach was saying, we were able to get contribution from everyone, in this game. And that was amazing for us. And it was such an emotional game because of that, because we had so many players that were able to contribute. And it was an amazing atmosphere for us.
So that's the Cameron Brown foul where she picks up her fifth and then fouls out of the game. How did that kind of change things up when you guys are huddling and talking about how to defend High Point down the stretch?
Well, that play, again, it started with defense and a great deflection and steal. And that's what we really built our momentum on that. And that fourth quarter was off the defensive side. And for Lou to come up with that ball and pick up that fifth foul on Cameron, that was huge. And we were obviously in the middle of that run, and the momentum had totally shifted. It was truly a game of runs there, and fortunately, our run came at the end.
Did you feel it all, Ronnie? Because once this game got tied, there was a little 2-minute spurt where neither team scored. Was there so much energy exerted to get just back in the game that it took both teams a while to find their rhythm down the stretch?
Yeah, it was tough as a coach because we had all that momentum. Like you said, we finally tie the game, I believe, and then we go a couple of possessions where we're empty and can't score. And it's like you work so hard to get back. But we kept working and kept fighting, and that was we kept defending, to be honest with you, and it didn't let them score either. And then that gave us a chance to have the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah, when you held the highest scoring team in High Point to just 7 points in the fourth quarter, it really did change the outlook of the league. And Pierre, when you're sitting on the bench, I know you're a very active and involved coach. Is it like you said, do you get to that cheerleader mindset, or are there certain things you can point out in a possession like this where they're inbounding it and you're noticing certain tendencies?
Well, we're just hoping that we play with maximum effort and don't allow them to score this possession. But emotionally, we're such competitors, our staff. We're living and dying on every play. And just like you mentioned earlier, Cameron Brown's not in the game. So there's a little boost of confidence that, okay, well, she's not in the game any longer. And I think we got a good chance of stopping, their team, especially with the momentum that we built. But as a coach, it's very challenging. And you want to see how fast that you can tie that game up and try to get that lead. So it was nerve-wracking.
Okay, so now Campbell's completed the 14-0 run. This is the point of the game where everyone in the gym is kind of on pins and needles. What did you think of the defensive effort these next 2 minutes to keep this game tied?
Yeah, it was amazing, and started with that finish down low by Ash there. That was a great one-on-one move in the post, and we had a balanced attack and we scored inside and out, which was neat. But now, like you said, our defense and our rebound, I think that's the rebound that Faith had right there that was amazing. She went right up over Skylar and got that ball. And we maybe got a little tight down the stretch here offensively, but the effort remained the same on the defensive end. And it was really rewarding when you're able to stop people.
And I love the bench, too, because anytime a shot goes up, it feels like every girl's standing, and they're just waiting for that ball to go in.
Yeah, we had a great our kids really pulled for each other the whole season, and we had great chemistry on this team. And it was all about team first and sweating and serving for each other. And you can see that. You can tell a lot about a team when you do watch their bench. I think that's a good point.
What I love about this game, too, is that Skylar Kern and Haley Barber, a couple of all-conference guards, both had really clean looks late in the game, and neither scored. It was a freshman in Svenja Nuremberg who was a good player but wasn't an all-conference type player that ultimately ended this game for Campbell.
Yeah, it's really ironic. I don't think Svenja played very much until the last minute of the game in the fourth quarter. We had gone small, I think, some, and Taya was in there, and then we came in with Ash. Like right now, we've got, 2.5 minutes, and Svenja's not in the game right now, I don't believe. And so it was really ironic that she would step up, but that's the confidence I have in her to put her in the game at the end and totally trust her.
Wow, that pinball of a rebound was very tight. And then luckily you guys weren't in the bonus at that point with the Faith foul. So, Pierre, you're sitting there with 2 minutes left. You see Shai Tooley checking in. How are you keeping your calm and your nerves under control in a game that had so much emotion in this fourth quarter?
Well, fortunately, now we're tied up. And so I'm like, man, can we score a basket? I'm like, can we please put the ball in the basket, find a way somehow to make something happen? Because usually if our defense is like this, I'm thinking we're just going to get stops, and eventually with our momentum, we're going to get a nice drive to the basket, and we're going to kind of, run away with it. And unfortunately, that never happened. So you're hoping Shai Tooley can go in and have confidence, because obviously, I don't remember her particular stat line this game, but I was just basically telling her, Shai, you need to have the confidence when you're open, shoot the ball and don't hesitate, with her being one of our best shooters and players on the court.
No, but Exhibit A right there, because I believe I even like that shot. Like you mentioned, it didn't go in, but that's the shot you want Shai to take.
Yeah, no doubt. And Shai just made a great defensive play. I don't know if you noticed, she didn't foul, and she knocked that rebound out, knocked the ball out so we can get the rebound. And I'll be totally honest, like sometimes you have teams where you want a certain player getting in the last shot, and I have confidence in everybody on that floor right now. And that play right there was I remember putting my head in my hands, and things didn't look good here. Under a minute, we go down 2. But I love the way we answer here.
Are you calling a play for Lou here, Coach? Is this basically what you're drawing up, or do you want Haley with the ball down the stretch?
Well, we've set a ball screen, and we're really trying to space them out, and we've got 4 guards on the floor and give our guards room to drive, and Lou faked that ball screen and made a beautiful play to the basket. But we're really just trying to spread it and give our guards room to operate.
Now, this is where things get exciting, right? Because there's about 2 possessions left. High Point's looking to work the clock and get an open shot off, and maybe, again, your best defensive possession right here.
Yeah, we worked a lot on that play right there. This is a beautiful guard the ball by Key and then helped by Ash. And we that's what they do a lot. They really isolate and try to take it. And that was great defense right there. Like Coach Miller said, Kiana's ability to keep that ball in front was amazing during every game. In this game, she was a tremendous defender. And I think right here, we knew who was getting the basketball. And then watch Kiana guard on this baseline right here. Another great job guarding the ball one-on-one. They called timeout because you knew they wanted to get the ball to Skylar.
And especially now, because of the foul, that High Point could theoretically hold for the final shots. They didn't have to rush, but they took a quick shot. And how about that 6th rebound of the game, maybe the biggest play by Haley Barber? Yeah,
it was a great block out by Ash. And what Haley did is Haley just stayed between her and the basket and made her make a tough shot. She's a tremendous player. you're not going to keep her from shooting, but we wanted to make her shoot over us. And Haley, as she did all year, I thought she was the best defender in the league personally. And she was amazing guarding the other team's best player every game, and how she defended was awesome.
Okay, Ronnie, so take me inside the huddle here. What are you drawing up? And I know we mentioned that Svenja was not the first option. What were you trying to get open on this final play?
Yeah, we had worked on this play a bunch during the season, and Shai is going to set a back screen here for Taya, and we're looking for Taya first. We're looking for Shai off the down screen from Svenja, and they really helped off on Shai, and Haley, being the player she is, found Svenja for that wide open shot there. Svenja was the third option, and it goes back to Haley really making a beautiful pass, and for a freshman to knock that shot down, it was amazing as well.
And Pierre, you had some key coaching too, because you started jumping but pulled your entire bench back to try to prevent maybe a technical foul or things of that nature that can pop up.
Yeah, it's crazy. The second half of the conference, we had so many close games. And so you start getting used to, okay, we're going to make a big-time shot, and there's still going to be time left on the clock. So we can't be rushing the court or anything like that. We got to try to keep our composure. And I was trying to keep Coach Bowen. I guess she claims that she was keeping everybody else off the court, but she was ready to run the court.
So your team finds a way to overcome this 15-point deficit in the fourth quarter. What are the emotions like as you're celebrating this win and maybe as you're talking to the girls in the locker room, Coach?
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. And, you know, when you win a game on a last-second shot, that doesn't happen very much during the season, sometimes not at all during the season. And it was so emotional, especially when you come back from a 14-point deficit in the fourth quarter against probably your biggest rival in a game that really had a lot of implications for a championship. And we knew they had beaten Radford. They ended up sweeping Radford. So if there was a tie or anything, it really would help us there. And I don't think there was a lot of talking in the locker room. There was a lot of celebrating. And I was just really proud of the effort. And like I said a second ago, it was a team effort. And that was how it was every game of the season. So just really proud. And that was a huge win that helped propel us to a championship.
Well, Ronny Fisher, Pierre Miller, we certainly appreciate you guys breaking it down, and it was fun to look back on this game in early February, and thanks for joining us here on this rewatch.
Yeah, that made my day, Evan. I need to watch it about every day. I like the feeling I have right now.
Yeah, thank you, Evan. Appreciate it.